Okay, next up, a few people were asking about drill presses, or they're interested and might pick one up for the shop. I thought I would just go through a few features and what I found, what I like, and just we'll just kick it around a little bit and see what you think. Currently, I have 4 drill presses. This was my first one. This I had for many years. I bought that years ago. I'll show you that later on. This one here is a small central machinery, which is a Harbor Freight brand, and then I have my standing. Over here, the Sears standing unit, it's a 1 horse, and then my Delta. And let me just tell you a little bit about each and why I chose and why I have more than one, which sounds okay. First off, let's start off. The 2 basic types you're going to see is the bench top, which I have 3 bench top and I have 1 floor model. And you can see the floor model here goes all the way down to the floor. I even built a pedestal for the floor model to sit on because, you know, I like my tools a little bit higher. But bench models are, you know, for me, they're actually better than the floor models for what I use. Now, contrary to what you might believe, nobody really needs a drill press because you can do anything you could do on a drill press. You could do with a regular drill, but there's a lot of things that a drill press really makes easier on you, and that's why we really tend to love them when you get one. First of all, the ability to drill a hole straight. That's number one. I mean, it makes it so simple to drill a hole straight. There are other ways to do it, like using this little unit here. I had this years ago, and this is basically, you take your drill, take the chuck off your drill, you mount it on here, you put the chuck on the other end of here, and now this becomes a portable drill press. And basically, it's just a guide that allows you to drill straight into a hole like this. You could see, you place it over something, and you could drill straight in. You could it's got 2 little V blocks here that you could put a round stock, drill into the center of round stock. If you want to drill straight into a wall or something, this is a beautiful little tool, and you can get by with this. But let me show you why a drill press is something you really want. The first thing you'll notice between all of these drill presses is the size. You say some are bigger than others and some have more powerful motors. That's like anything else. But how you measure a drill press, you'll see this is an 8-inch drill press. The standing one over there, Sears, says it's a 15-inch drill press. And how it's measured is the swing of the drill press, what they call swing, which means the length between the drill chuck and the column. Now you double that. So this says 8 inches. So that means that I have 4 inches. It's 4 inches here to the chuck. So I could actually put something that's 8 inches around here and drill in the center of it. So that's how you measure a drill press. The second thing you would measure on the drill press is the power. And this one's a 1 horsepower. Most of the small benchtop models are 1/3 of a horsepower, and some vary in between. Now, depending on what you're going to be drilling, if you're going to be drilling things that are very long, you might want a standing drill press because you can move that table all the way down and you could fit something like 3 feet long underneath there and still be on the table. The capacity between the chuck and the drill table on many of the benchtop models is very limited. You could see here, we only have about 5 inches or so, plus you have to have the drill bit in there, so you could see how you're limited. Then you move the table away, that gives you another couple inches, and you can see here we have about 9 inches to the chuck, but then you're going to have the drill bit in there. So if you're drilling big items, you need a taller or a drill press. But for what I'm using, 90% of the time you can get by with a bench. Now, the first thing I look for in a bench model, there are so many companies that make these and stuff. Try and get something that's a decent name, or it's going to have backing behind it, you know, like a warranty of some sort. But UL listed. If it's UL listed, that's the first step in getting a pretty decent drill press, because like I said, there's so many, and it's a simple machine, but they're all over the place, and they vary in price from $39 up to $189 for bench type models. Now this central machinery one, this one was only about $40 when I bought it years ago, but has a nice mill table, very easy to adjust, you know, by moving this up and down, and then just giving us a little bit of a turn back here. Very solid table, has a nice base to it. I really enjoy this drill press. Up here, these are the normal features that you look for. Stop. This is a stop bar. And what you would do if you wanted to drill repetitive cuts that, let's say, were 1 inch deep, you could bring this down to 1 inch and then lock these nuts on here, and it'll stop at 1 inch deep. Now, if you look here, there's a little scale, and it's both in inches and millimeters. And what you do here is you basically, there's a twin nut here. You bring it down to what depth you want. Let's say 1 inch. I'm going to do it too. So I'll bring the arrow down to 1 inch, and then I'll tighten the nut, the secondary nut on top of the first one. That'll hold it, and that'll lock it in that I can repetitively drill down to 1 inch. Now, to change speeds on the drill press, the cover opens up and there's 2 pulleys. This pulley is above the spindle here, which has the chuck on it, and this pulley is attached to the motor. And you can see here there's a speeds on the different pulley arrangements. Now you can see here by adjusting the pulleys and putting them on front and rear, different ones, you can get your different speeds. Now right now, the way I have the pulley set up, I have it at the highest speed, that's 3,100 RPM. And that's quite quick for a drill press. Let me show you what the slowest speed is. I'm going to show you in real time how long it takes to change speeds on a drill press. And I'm doing this, like I said, real time. First thing, you loosen up the motor latch here, and that'll bring the motor closer. And you can see it puts slack in the belt. So you pull it close, then you'll move the belt down on the step pulley. You're going to have to move it down because it has to go all the way down to the bottom. When it goes down to the bottom, you're going to follow it on this side to the corresponding pulley. So there we have the bottom pulley. We're 1 away from the bottom. We're still moving it down. And we have 1 more to go. And there we are, bottom pulley. And then we'll put this over here. That's it. And then push the motor back, tighten this up. And now we're at the lowest speed that you can go. Let's see what that looks like. Very slow. That's at 620 RPM. Now you can see, because the belt change is a little bit, it's not so much fun to do. You could see why most people, like myself included, leave it at a speed that's kind of in between. I have it set at 1100 RPM now. That's the second speed up. And that's perfect for most operations that you're going to do. Now, let me show you the difference here. You see here, this is the handle for pull down. And over here, this is a cast. You don't usually see these like this anymore, but this is like a one-piece cast unit. And I got used to it. It works okay, you know. Some of the other ones here, you can see this one here, you know, it has a little bit longer because, but here's how you adjust the depth to stop on this drill press. What you do is there's a little lever here that you loosen up, and when you move this wherever you want as far as depth goes, you tighten this up and then that'll lock it down and stop it. Now, to adjust the depth on the Delta, which this unit's a little bit different, but you can see here there's a nut with a spring release, so you could move this down here, and there's graduations here, and it is in inches. But if you want to drill 1 inch, you would move this down to 1 inch. If you want to go faster, you push this little nut and it slides it up and down. So it is a nice feature. And then when it locks down, I'll show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like when it locks down. You can see how it stops. That'll stop the spindle. So it's pretty, I like that that system on this drill press. On some of your bigger drill presses, instead of just raising and lowering it by hand, you might have a gear driven, or this is a little rack and pinion hand crank to raise and lower your table. It's nice, but it's slower than the other ones. So, but it is a nice little feature. And another good feature is when you get your drill press, to take the chuck key and wire it onto your drill press out of the way, but it's still available so that you can always tighten it up, use it, and then put it away and you won't lose it. Now, one reason I bought this Delta drill press was the main reason was this. It had variable speed. Now, how nice is no messing with belts. You just turn this little lever and you go from 500 to 3,100 RPM. Just by turning this little lever. Sounds great, right? It's not. Unfortunately, this is a Reeves drive, okay? What a Reeves drive is. Okay, now here's what your basic drill press looks like. You have your spindle, your motor, and you have your 2 pulleys here. Now, normally they use a step pulley, and that's where the belt can drive on. It acts as a transmission. With the Reeves drive, it uses two cone-shaped pulley halves like this that separate from each other. When they're farthest apart, this area here is smallest, so it acts as the smaller part of the step pulley. When it's closer, the belt rides high on the dome, and that creates a different gear ratio. So you can see here we driving at its smallest area when you separate it the most, and here when you squeeze them together, you can see it acts as a different pulley. Now this that system worked really good on expensive machinery, but whenever they tried to do it on inexpensive machinery, it always failed. This drill press is a perfect example of a failed system, because now it doesn't work in any speed except for low speed, and you could change it around and put pulleys back on, but it's just a real pain. So don't ever get a Reeves drive system, a variable speed Reeves drive on an inexpensive drill press, because it'll never work. Now the other way to go variable speed is what they call a VFD. Now a VFD is a variable frequency drive, and this is similar to what this is. This is my milling machine, which we'll be getting to next week, and I'll show you how that works. You can see when you start it up, it starts off slow, and then you can speed up. So that's a VFD. It's basically an electronic variable frequency drive which controls the motor. Okay, now you basically know everything there is to know about these little drill presses. So what can you do on a drill press? Let me show you something. Using one of these rubber-backed adapters that you can get them in any tool store. You could put a sanding disc on here and use it to sand. Now, one thing I didn't mention before is that the different kind of chucks you can get, a lot of times they'll come with a keyless chuck like this, or you can have a regular key chuck where you need a key to close it. But to operate this, you just push this up like this, and there's two rings. You hold the top ring and turn the bottom one, give it a snug, and that's enough to hold it on. However, I always prefer the old-fashioned key chuck. Here you can use the wire brush on the drill press. Works very good. We can use our buffing wheels on a homemade adapter that we have, our buffing adapter. Okay, let me show you a fun little project you can make on the drill press. First of all, you're going to need just a scrap of wood. You can get any length you want. You'll see why later. I have a pencil. I have a 9/32 drill bit, which is the same size as this pencil. Depending on the pencil, you're going to pick a different one. And I just happen to have some scrap dowels laying around, and this is 15/64 drill bit, which they fit pretty snug. And a compass. Look at this nice compass I have. I bought this years ago from Gladstone Tools, and that is just a beautiful. I can't tell you how much I use this thing. Just beautiful. Anyway, take a piece of wood and mark a line down the middle, and find the middle of the piece of wood. Again, it doesn't matter if it's exact or not, because you'll see why in a minute. And then you're going to put the tip, the point, right on to that mark right there, that center mark. You see right there? That's everything. It revolves around that center mark. Now, just open it up about 1.5 inches or so. Make a mark on that line there. Make a mark on the line here. You can see like we're doing there. And then open it up a little bit more. This time we're going to open it up to, I guess about there. That's fine. Make a mark here. Spin it around. Make a mark here. And then we're going to do the same thing one last time on the edge of our little tool. We'll open it up to about here. Make a mark. And then we'll make a mark over here. Then we're going to use our punch, and we're going to punch all of those marks. You can see what we did. We have a center mark, and we have 3 marks on each side of the center mark that are evenly spaced. Okay, you see we just center punched each one of those marks, and now we're going to drill the center one with the 9/32 and the other ones with the 15/64. These 6. Just only the center one is 9/32. Okay, and we're done. We're calling this project done. You see how simple this tool was to make, and now what it is, it's a center finder. And what you do is you take your pencil, you press it through here so that just the tip sticks out like that, and that's a snug fit. And on the bottom side, you take your 2 dowels and you can put them in any one of the holes that depending on the wood you have. So here, we're going to space it here, but you could see you could space it wider for wider boards. Now, if you had like a board like this that you needed to run, you find the center of, you take your little tool like this, you tilt it until the two dowels are touching each side, and you move it down the middle, and that'll give you the perfect center here. And you can see it's a nice little tool. It works, and it's fairly accurate. A lot of carpenters use these and make them on the site. Here, we'll try our little tool on a 2x4. Again, you put it over here, you turn it sideways, and then just run it down the side, and it'll pick up the middle of the board here, you could see. And there's your line right down the middle. And it's very accurate. Now, one thing I just wanted to show you real quick is that probably what I use so many times the drill press for is for countersinks. You know, a lot of times I'll be making a project or something and I want the countersink to be the identical depth on every hole, and this is just a perfect tool for that. If you try and do it with a drill, you're always going to have one that goes a little bit deeper than the other, whatever, but you know, this is a really enjoyable operation to perform on the drill press. You can see the results right here. Okay, so there we have just about everything you need to know about purchasing your first drill press, and it would be a great investment. In closing, I just wanted to tell you about a YouTube subscriber that I found out about, and he's a subscriber to this channel and one of the groups, so he puts out a really great channel, and I'll tell you, every once in a while you come across a channel where it just relaxes you to watch the videos, and his name is Todd. He's a good friend. He's from Ohio, and I'll put the link down here. It's CountryPeddlerTKnauss, and he's in, like I said, he's in Ohio. He does farming, and he does tool restorations, and he's just a great guy, family man. I really think you should check him out. Let's get his subscriptions up a little bit, and I hope you have a nice Easter, nice weekend. Thanks very much for tuning in. Take care, and bye-bye.